Tonight, the family of a Hampton man who was shot and killed on the 17 bypass in Elizabeth City searches for answer. Family members say Joshua DeBuno was traveling to North Carolina Monday when bullets flew at the car he was in. Thank you for joining us for 13 News Now at 5. I'm David Allen.
And I'm Janet Roach. 13 News Now reporter Stephen Graves joins us in the studio. And Stephen, what else is his family saying?
Well, Janet, it was an emotional interview today, and the family says the more they learn, the harder it gets. They say the 19-year-old was simply on the way to pick up something he bought online, but he never made it there, and his friends watched him slowly die.
You took away my fiance. You took away a brother, you took away a wonderful uncle, you took away a son, and you took away a best friend.
Caitlin Matthews is talking to the suspects deputies say killed her soon-to-be husband Joshua DeBuno. The wedding was supposed to be held this summer, the love story of a 19-year-old avid fisherman who found his love in Matthews online.
I'm very numb because this still doesn't feel real.
The Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office says DeBuno was shot several times on US 17 in Elizabeth City on Monday. Family says he was driving with his two friends in an SUV when an unknown car pulled up and fired. Matthews got a call she can't forget.
They were hysterical. I said, I want to speak with Josh. They said he can't talk.
DeBuno died at the hospital. Family can only guess the shooting was a result of road rage because they say he'd never driven that route before and was just going to pick up an item he ordered online.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Now they just simply want answers and someone held responsible. His family here in Hampton say they'll make sure that justice is served.
You mess with my baby, you mess with all of us. And you don't want none of that. Trust me.
And those loved ones say DeBuno's friends were not hurt, but they were able to tell them some details about the evening this happened. I'll tell you about that and who police are looking for on 13 News Now at 6. Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
Live to the Virginia Beach ocean front today, Mayor Will Sessoms addressed the city, laying out the challenges it faces moving forward. 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee was at the State of the City address, and she joins us live from the Convention Center with those details.
Hey, David. Well, Mayor Will Sessoms first touted the city's accomplishments, saying they were able to increase tourist numbers and build the city's digital infrastructure by installing a transatlantic cable. However, he said there are still challenges that lie ahead.
Today, Virginia Beach is competing nationally and globally, and we're in it to win it.
As Mayor Will Sessoms took the stage, he announced key developments he said will step up the city's game to compete as a year-round destination, like a surf water park and a new sports venue.
So we must continue to invest in sports marketing, and I believe this is going to be huge, especially with the track.
But the city has had its share of challenges, like the failed multi-million-dollar Mid-Atlantic Arena and being skipped over for Amazon's second headquarters.
So glad we went after both of those. We learned a lot, and I'll tell you, give me that opportunity again and I'll go after it again.
And now two other key challenges loom ahead for the resort city.
Sea level rise is certainly a big one, but opioids in my mind is above that because people are literally losing their lives with opioids.
Sessoms called the opioid crisis an awful epidemic and announced he and other cities will file a lawsuit to sue opioid manufacturers.
We spend a lot of money as a locality addressing the opioid issue, and what the purpose of the suit would be is to get those funds back, that we have spent over the years.
And I asked Mayor Sessoms which specific opioid manufacturers they're targeting. He referred me to the city manager, and I've not yet heard back from him. So coming up on 13 News Now at 6, I'll tell you how Mayor Sessoms wants to make traveling by plane a little easier. Live in Virginia Beach, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
Well, the city of Virginia Beach is also revealing its proposed budget for the upcoming year at just over $2 billion, is up 2.4% from last year. Stormwater projects are a top priority. Real estate taxes will not increase. Instead, a majority of the current real estate tax money will be reallocated to fund those projects. The stormwater fee will go up, costing people an average of $9 a year. And residents could also see increases in other taxes and fees. A 10-cent increase in personal property tax, a $2 automobile fee increase, and a 10-cent cigarette tax, or 85 cents per pack. As for the school system, the budget calls for expanding full-day kindergarten to 12 more schools and funding for 28 more teachers. City Council will discuss the proposal throughout April before voting on it. Public hearings are set for April 25th and May 1st.
All right, the city also wants you to try and balance the budget. You can use this interactive tool called Balancing Act to give your suggestions. It shows where you think the money should go. Let's take education for a moment. Right here, you just push on that button. You can take a look at how much is budgeted for education. Brings up the details. You see $442 million goes to beach schools. Well, from there, you can decide if a category should get more or less money. There's a positive button where you add money. There's a negative button where you take money away. But keep in mind, you're dealing with a budget. You got to balance and that's there to figure out where all the money should go. We've got a link to this tool on 13newsnow.com. Just go to the Features tab and click on Links in the News, and you'll find this.
Virginia Beach is responding to recommendations made by a task force to make the sometimes violent College Beach weekend safer. And here are some of the actions the city says it plans to take. Shutting down entry at the oceanfront early to avoid traffic gridlock, engaging residents, businesses, and visitors to make things safer for everyone, using social media to convey information. The city says it is talking about working with colleges to rebrand the event and make it more official. College Beach weekend comes every year at the end of April.
Trial begins for a man accused of robbing a GameStop store at gunpoint. Police say James Gregory was involved in the crime last June at Hampton Town Center on Big Bethel Road. 13 News Now reporter Nico Clements is live outside Hampton Circuit Court with what's happening inside that courtroom.
David, today we heard emotional testimony from several people who were inside that GameStop. Prosecutors say two men went inside and robbed everyone, but that James Gregory was the man in charge and the only one with a gun.
You could see tears in his eyes. You could see, snot running down his face.
Chilling details about a GameStop robbery in Hampton last June.
It was a violent act. It was a very blatant, open act in daylight, and it also resulted in an officer being shot.
Prosecutors say James Gregory went inside the store and held everyone up at gunpoint, including the manager and a few customers. Prosecutors say Leonard Morrison joined Gregory, but that Gregory was in charge, giving clear instructions and the only one with a gun.
We're trying to make sure that we send a message to this defendant as well as to the community as a whole. Gun violence is just out of control.
Several witnesses took the stand Wednesday afternoon, including one lady who tried to go into the store and shop. Prosecutors say Morrison told her she couldn't come in. Commonwealth's attorney Anton Bell.
The community is impacted when there's violent crime, and so we want the members of the community to have a voice and what they think is appropriate as far as the disposition of this case, and as well as the punishment for this case.
Police say on June 12th, Gregory, Morrison, and Alan Ralph robbed GameStops in Hampton as well as Chesapeake. Morrison and Gregory are also charged in a deadly double shooting just days before the robberies.
These individuals went on a gun spree, basically crime spree, over a period of a few days in multiple jurisdictions. And so we want to make sure we have a very impactful disposition of this matter.
Some new details I want to share with you. I was just inside and the judge denied the defense's motion to strike several charges, more specifically those abduction charges. So Gregory, he just changed all his not guilty pleas to guilty. That just happened about 10-15 minutes ago. Again, changed all his not guilty pleas to guilty. So we will work and continue to find out what's next. Obviously, the next step is going to be the sentencing. We will find out when that date will happen, and we'll bring you the latest once it becomes available. Live in Hampton, I'm Nico Clements, 13 News Now.
Two deputies who were fired by the Norfolk Sheriff's Office back in February now have jobs at the Portsmouth Sheriff's Office. The deputies left after an internal investigation into the death of 17-year-old Cottrell Washington. Officials say Washington committed suicide in November in a courthouse holding cell. Portsmouth Lieutenant Colonel Marvin Waters says the deputies were highly recommended and passed background checks. A Norfolk sergeant who resigned after Washington's death was also hired by the Portsmouth Portsmouth Sheriff's Office earlier this month.
Senator Mark Warner is scheduled to visit Hampton Roads on Friday. He's hosting a discussion with the Women in Defense chapter of Greater Hampton Roads at the Half Moon Cruise and Celebration Center. The plan is to talk about issues about defense, intelligence, and military communities, the issues that they face. After that, he'll head to downtown Norfolk's Selden Market for the 757 launch event celebrating entrepreneurship. And finally, he'll tour the Norfolk field office of the FBI in Chesapeake.
The Hampton School Board is running out of time to approve its budget for next year. By state law, it has to be done by April 1st. Tonight, the board will meet to hear comments and vote on the $201 million spending plan. It includes 2% raises for most staff members, but cuts dozens of positions. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. at 1819 Nickerson Boulevard.